everybody. How's it going?
Hi.
Good. Thank you guys for being here. So this is the VIP Q&A. This is going to be way more casual than the actual show. I just like to let you know about it. It's very casual. Yeah, the show doesn't leave a ton of room for like back and forth between us, so I just wanted to do something a little bit more personable and just chill and hang out with you guys. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing. So thank you guys so much for coming. Just some ground rules. I cannot come off the stage, you can't come on the stage. I can't come and sign anything or take any like selfies or anything. During this, you can take photos or videos or whatever you want. And I'll say this again at the beginning of the actual show. You can do whatever you want during this time, but just no photos or videos during the actual show. What else? I'm not gonna do a flip. Spencer's fine, B is fine, Mika's fine. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions? How do I keep a consistent schedule? I don't. I think this show was like a really big motivator for a really long time, and still is a big motivator. But this was something that was like so different and a lot more challenging for me than normal videos, and so this is really what kept me motivated for a while. Keeping a roof over Spencer's head, big motivator. Yeah, I don't know. I think like my motivation, like it ebbs and flows. Sometimes I'm not feeling motivated at all. Other times I'm feeling super motivated. So I don't really have a formula of how to stay motivated. It just kind of comes and goes. So yeah. You in the back.
What made you want to turn the original show into a tour?
It was always the plan from the beginning. The first show in Chicago that we did in November, that was just like a tester show to see if doing a tour was feasible. So like if that show had not like sold a bunch of tickets or anything, then the tour probably wouldn't have happened, because it's like, okay, well this one show didn't do good, so that means the whole tour is probably not gonna do well. And even though like I want to do a show no matter what, as far as like a tour goes, like it needs to be doing well for the touring company to do it, because contrary to what most people think, touring is not free at all. It's extremely expensive, and so like in order to be able to do a tour, you need to make sure that like you can sell enough tickets, or else or else it's just insanely expensive. So yeah, it was always the plan from the beginning to try and do a tour. And then because the first show in Chicago went so well, this is able to happen. So yeah. Yeah.
I'm someone who's struggling to kind of like find my path in life. If you hadn't taken off on the internet, how do you see yourself living otherwise?
I have no idea. I think I got really lucky, like not only just like with what has happened in my like career, but also that ever since I was like pretty young, because I started this when I was 15, and so ever since then I kind of knew that this was what I wanted to do. And so I feel like I got really lucky in that aspect, because there's a lot of people that don't know what they want to do, and so I just kind of found this thing that I was super passionate about, and I took it and I rolled with it, and somehow for some reason it worked out. But yeah, I don't really have any advice on like how to find that. Again, I think I just got lucky with finding a thing and being like, ooh, I really love this a lot. But I guess as far as trying to find that thing, I guess just like doing as much different stuff as you can until you find a thing that you really like. So yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to say hi and I love you, and I do have questions, but have you been able to do anything fun like in the local like Glenside area?
Yes.
So we got in this morning. So usually like we don't really have a lot of time because usually we'll get in the morning of the show and then we'll have like a few hours and then the show happens and then after the show we get on the bus and we leave and we go to the next city. So today I went to a coffee shop and then I came back here. So the coffee shop was great though. The woman working there knew that I had a peanut allergy. She was like, "Are you the guy doing the show?" And I was like, "Yeah." She was like, "Yeah, I heard about your peanut allergy." I mean, that makes me feel safe, but why does everyone know that? But yeah, not a lot of time to like go out and peruse, unfortunately. But would you suggest something? I mean, I'm doing this show after this, so I can't really go and do anything, but...
Totally stop at Betty Jack.
Well, I'm not really familiar with like the area, like right around the Keswick theater. Just like walk around, I guess.
Where?
You should totally stop at Betty Jack. Betty Jack Gallery. It's like 2 blocks or like 2 shops down here.
I can't because the show's over. But if I were to come
You
back...
have the time and you come back.
How far away from like Philly proper are we?
Like a half an
A
hour.
good bar.
2 hours?
No.
Here. Like how far away is here?
Like 30 minutes.
Half hour, 45? Half an hour.
Yeah.
Okay.
That.
There's a lot of varying answers. Anybody else have a question? I don't know. The question was, how did I keep up with Unisonus and doing the videos every day? I honestly have no idea. I don't know how any of us did that. It was an insane amount of work. And like, I am so thankful that Unisonus happened and I had such a fun time doing it. But I have so many people that are like, man, I bet you wish you could have kept doing Unisonus, or I bet you wish that Unisonus 2 could happen. And I was like, never in my life. Never in my life do I want to do that again. It was so much work. And like, it was great, but it was like unhealthy how much we were working. It was a lot. It was way too much. Honestly, I don't know how we did it. It's all a blur. I don't know. Yeah.
So first of all, thank you for being an inspiration to me.
Thanks.
And,
Oh yeah, we met in the parking lot. Hi. A lot of trash talk.
But I see you're drinking a Red Bull. Are you just gonna neglect the water bottle? You know the fan page for that water bottle?
There's a fan page for the water bottle?
Oh my fucking god.
Am I gonna neglect the water? So the water bottle is for me to drink during the show. There's a lot of other water. It's an inanimate object and it's not sentient, so I don't think it really cares if I'm drinking a Red Bull. I don't know. What's your question? If I'll drink the water eventually. It's for during the show when I'm thirsty on stage. I have other waters in my life. Probably Mika. And then like I'm more of Spencer's person. Mika's more of B's person. Or yeah. Yeah.
What do you feel is the most rewarding part of doing Twitch, YouTube, content creation? Like, what is your favorite part about it?
The most rewarding part, I think the best thing about it is just to be able to like kind of make the stuff that I feel like making and like being able to just like, I don't know, explore a bunch of different avenues. Like I feel like in the last couple of years, I've gotten a lot of cool opportunities to try a bunch of different things. And I feel like with just like a traditional job, like I couldn't do that. And it's also really nice and also a curse that like I can make my own schedule. and be like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and this on this day, and it's also terrible because sometimes I'm like constantly working, or on the flip side, where it's like I feel like I haven't done anything for a long time and I don't feel good about it. But yeah, I think the most rewarding thing is just being able to. I feel really, really lucky to have the audience that I do because you guys are so chill about me trying a bunch of different things. So yeah. Yeah.
You have a lot of like swanky tattoos. Do you have any like future plans? Another one or a couple?
I don't have any like plans for new tattoos. They'll probably just happen. But I don't currently really have any like solid plans. No. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how long this part is either. I don't either.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Starts in half an hour. I don't know. It says it's 45. Oh, no. They start letting people in at 8.
Yeah. No, before and after the show you'll be able to.
Start at 8 or does
If what? I don't think it'll sell out. I think we have enough in stock that it's probably fine. I think I'm correct. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure it will be fine though. Yeah.
What has been your favorite thing you've done on tour that isn't the show?
I really love the in-between moments and like getting to know everybody on the bus has been really fun, and we've just gotten up to a lot of antics. Yeah, it's been really, really fun. I don't have like a specific thing necessarily. It's just been really nice like bonding with everybody and having a little tour family. And the days off have been really nice too. Like we'll have a random day off in a random city, and so we'll either like go and run around and see that city, or we'll just do nothing on the bus. And it's like kind of nice. We're just like, wow, isn't it great to just do nothing for a day? Yeah, I think that's been my favorite. That was kind of a vague answer, but just the in-between times hanging out with people has been super, super fun. You. Hi.
First thing, great to meet you. Second, go to Humpty Dumplings the next time you come back.
Oh yeah.
Go to where?
Humpty Dumplings.
Humpty Dumplings, okay.
Yeah.
I cannot.
My question is just, if you have a favorite musical?
If I have a favorite musical, do I have a favorite musical? I really liked, because we did it in high school. I wasn't able to be in it, but I really liked it. Was How to Succeed in Business Without Really Trying. That's a fun one. What else? Now I can't think of a single musical. I saw Wicked years ago in LA. That was really, really fun. Wicked's also really good. And then I can't remember which one it is. It's really good. It's like it's this couple's relationship, and one starts at the end and goes to the beginning, and one starts at the beginning and goes to the end of the relationship.
Last 5 years?
What?
Last 5 years?
Yes, that one. Yeah, that's a really, really, really good show. That was really good. What else? Yep. That's all.
Thank you.
Yeah. How would I describe my music taste? No one's ever asked me. Normal. I don't know. Probably like boring. I just kind of like listen to whatever. I'm not like a crazy huge music guy. Like, I mean, obviously there's a bunch of bands and artists that I like, but I don't like spend all day listening to like a ton of albums and stuff like that. I have a few friends, like my friend from back home, Andrew. He's a huge music guy, so whenever I'm like bored of what I'm listening to, I'll just ask him to recommend a few albums, and he always gives me like really, really good albums from artists that I've never heard of before. It's great. Hey Rick. Somebody was asking if I think the merch is gonna sell out after the show. Are we good on stock? He said I'd get it before the end of the show if you're super worried about it. But only if you're super worried about it. There's your water. There it goes. Yeah. What would my shape be? Okay, so there's the...
Teletubbies.
I remember their names, but I don't remember which ones had which shapes. Do you know? Any shape? Matt, is Vin sitting next to you? Oh, that's a bummer. A rhombus. Fun, you know? I just made someone snort over here. Yeah.
So I came to the You're Welcome tour back in 2017,
How awesome.
and I guess I wanted to ask.
Did we come here?
Not here. It
Like,
wasn't.
not here,
It was.
did we come
It was
here?
Philly. Yeah, it was
Okay,
Philly.
cool.
I can't
don't
remember the name of the theater, but it was the loudest theater I've ever been in my life, and everybody
Cool.
screamed excessively. But I guess my question is, what would you say the biggest difference has been doing this tour compared to that one, other than being solo?
A lot of people have asked me that question, or asked like, which one do you prefer?
Not preference,
I don't
just-
think that they're super comparable, if I'm honest. Like, they're just two very different things. What was your question?
I don't know. I guess like what the biggest difference you noticed
What's
was,
the difference?
other
What's
than
the biggest difference?
being solo. Other than that.
Other than being solo, that show, I don't want to like give too much away. That show was almost all improv.
Okay.
This show doesn't have a lot of improv. Also, that tour, like, doing that show was super, super fun. And it was a really crazy, awesome opportunity. But at the end of the day, if I'm trying to put value into one of those shows, there wasn't a lot of, like, value that I placed in that show, in a sense. Whereas, like, this show that I made is very meaningful.
It means
to
something
me,
to you.
and I put a lot of time into it and a lot of heart into it, and I'm like very proud of it. Whereas that show, like, it was fun and I'm proud of it, but we like kind of came up with the concept of like, we're just gonna do like improv stuff and like blah 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 blah. So there wasn't as much like heart and soul in it, if that makes sense. I don't want to say that there wasn't heart in it, because it was fun and we all cared about it, but like, this is very different and a lot more personal.
I had
Yeah.
a small follow-up.
How what?
I had a small follow-up, and it's that
Yeah.
I'm impersonating an outfit that you did on Twitter once during the Unisonus days.
I can barely hear you, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, I said I'm impersonating an outfit that you did on Twitter
Oh,
during the Unisonus days.
nice, hell yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a water
I'm
there.
hoping after tonight is us, but where has been your favorite stop on the tour so far?
I think Chicago has been my favorite. Chicago was really fun. Also DC yesterday. Was that yesterday? DC yesterday was really, really fun.
In between the
Yeah.
seats.
We'll see how you do. Yeah.
Come on, give me some
If
napkins.
you have, which one would you say is like your most favorite?
My favorite tattoo is probably the one that I have of like Maine, which is this guy, because we have the most photographed lighthouse in the world. The lighthouse in Maine does not look anything like this. I just got a cool lighthouse. What'd you say?
That's my, I love that one.
That's your favorite of mine? Yeah, no, I like this one a lot. This one was like a random, like, I was getting this tattoo, and the tattoo artist was like, what do you want to get next? And I was like, I don't know. And he's like, what about like a cool dinosaur skeleton? And I was like, yeah. And like 2 weeks later, we did it. Yeah.
I'll watch you first. I would.
So many people have asked me to pick their next tattoo. What do you want? Do you have any tattoos? You have a frog tattoo? Okay. Okay. You could get a toad. Frog and toad were gay, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Glad we're here. Get a toad. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Cool sweater.
Oh, thank you. I met you at PAX Boston, PAX East, back in 2017, so it's nice to see you again.
Good to see you.
Do you remember the Gongoozler?
There were many. Oh, are you talking about just in general?
Yes.
Yes, I do.
Is it still lurking around?
Probably, I don't know. A lot of people have like sent me different photos of them cosplaying as the Gongoose. People think that I made up that word. It's a real word. I don't know what it means. I just think it sounds funny. What was your question?
that was my
So
main
far.
question.
Cool. Yeah.
Alright, so I wanted to ask this because originally I was gonna wear a banana suit. So have you had anyone that's worn like really odd outfits to the tour so far?
There was a furry in Iowa. Yeah, that was pretty much the standout one. So yeah. In the green. Hi. Thanks. Possibly. I don't really have any like solid plans, but I'd like
Done
to.
this.
So maybe. Yeah. I don't really remember because I got diagnosed when I was in like 6th or 7th grade. We just like went to a doctor and they like did half of a test and they were like, yeah, he's got it. So I can't speak to how hard it was because I think they just like kind of brought me in. But yeah, we just went to like a normal doctor. I don't know. Yeah. It's been really cool. I really love like doing stuff on stage in general. Like I've always loved interacting with like an audience and stuff live. And I mean doing the You're Welcome tour and also just like doing panels and stuff is what made me want to do a tour because I was like, I really like being on stage. I think it's mostly because I'm a narcissist and I only want the attention from me. No, but what was your question? Speaking of ADD, I ran out of my ADHD meds, and so thoughts have been fun. I think the biggest thing about doing this tour and being on stage is that it's really, especially after the last couple of years of not being able to go to conventions and stuff because of COVID, it's really put things into perspective a lot. I think that's another big difference with this show versus the You're Welcome tour, which I know you said before, like besides it being solo, but it's very weird seeing all of these places fill up and it be for me. It's really weird because with You're Welcome, it was all 5 of us. So it was like, oh, there's a ton of people here that are all here for all of us, but they're probably more here for this person or whatever. They were all there for Mark. Let's not. So it's really crazy doing these shows and then having people show up and it be only for me. It's really weird, and it also puts things into perspective a lot. Where, let's see, what was the first? I think the first sold out show that we did was the Second Stop, which was like a little over 1,000 people in Michigan. And that was so many people, like looking out into the audience and seeing all of those people, I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of fucking people. And then thinking about that, being like, okay, that's a 1,000-seat cap room. I have 2 million subscribers. That's insane. So I think that doing this tour and being up on stage and seeing all of you, like even this amount of people is like, there's a lot of bodies here. It's really put things into perspective. That was really rambly, but you know. Hey, thanks. Yeah.
So towards the end of the comments, you guys joked a lot about the lore.
Oh, about the what?
The lore.
Oh, the lore, yeah.
Did you ever comment to the official lore Discord?
No. Coming up with the Unis Honest lore was very, very funny. Because Mark is like huge into lore. And so it was like me, Mark, and Amy like sitting down and talking about lore. And we were just like spitting out stuff and being like, oh yeah, they'll love that. Doesn't make any sense, but they'll love that. I never went into the lore Discord. I didn't even know that there was a lore Discord. It's very, very funny.
We're still active.
You're still active.
Yes, with the reduced space.
Ah,
Yeah.
was there an Unis Honest thing in space?
No, it's
Oh.
just like a general thing. I think
Mark was thinking about doing an Unis Honest thing for space for part 1. But then it didn't happen because we both said, yeah, I'm very excited to talk about Mark for a second. I'm very excited to get home and watch all of space. We had like a little premiere at my house, and it was very fun watching a bunch of it because it wasn't completely done yet. So there was a bunch of stuff where it was like one video was completely finished, all the VFX, all the color grade was done, and then you cut to the next video and none of the VFX were there. It wasn't colored yet, so it just, everything's completely flat. It was very fun. Anyway, yeah.
I had a question about your ADHD. Have you ever noticed when you run out of your meds versus when you're on them that that the way you process your thoughts is different, or just the way you act on your thoughts?
That was too many thoughts.
Loaded question.
So, first of all, having not taken my meds for a few days, what was your question? The way that I process my thoughts different?
On your meds versus off, or just the way that you find yourself acting on those thoughts?
Yeah. Yes to both of those things. 1, the way that I act on things. 2, the way that I process the way that I don't process things at all. Like, you just said that sentence twice, still can't really remember what you said. Yeah, I think also my ADHD has changed a lot over the years because it used to be way more hyperactive based. Now it's almost entirely like focused based. Where like I make the joke a lot about like I can't read, but it's kind of true. Like I can read, but like learning in the last few years that I'm also dyslexic. It's just like, oh, this makes sense because after, basically any time that I read, especially if I'm not taking my meds, it's like, you know how if you're reading a book and then you realize that you've been reading but you haven't been comprehending any of the words? That's what it's like for me to read anything over like a paragraph. So I immediately just like space out and I'll read the words, but I'm not actually processing any of the information, which is why I don't read any books because it's extremely frustrating. Okay, I have time for like 1 or 2 more questions. Anything profound? Is it? Okay. That's not profound. Honey mustard. Okay, actual question. You.
First of all, I love you and you're my inspiration, but what's your favorite motivational quote?
My favorite motivational quote. I haven't thought about this in a long time. I think this was my senior quote. If anybody knows Watsky, who's a musical artist, he has a quote in one of his songs. I can't remember which song. It's tough, but it's got to be somebody. So why not you? So I made that a thing for a bit. Where when I was like starting out on YouTube and really wanting to do it, I was like, well, somebody has to. So I'm gonna make that me. And somehow I bullshitted my way to here. So, anyway, that's the last question that I can do. Again, this is very casual and like very low effort compared to the show. Again, the show doesn't leave a lot of room for like back and forth. And so I just wanted to have a more chill, casual, just like chat kind of. So I hope that you appreciated how casual this was. Yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys are so polite. Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
I'll see you in like an hour or whatever. Yeah, thank you guys so much for coming. If you go and get merch, make sure you're nice to everybody. Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay. What?
Excited to hear the song about pee.
Okay.